Hello there guys, Mark here. I hope you are well. In today's video, I'm going to show you an interesting variation of the Paracord dog leash. The one that we're going to be making today is an adjustable version. It is made similarly to the regular braided Paracord dog leash, but it has the added benefit of being adjustable. Here you can see the dog leash that we're going to be making. It has the look of a regular braided dog leash, but with a few differences. It has a snap hook on both ends and a bunch of rings distributed along the length of the leash. So let me show you how to use it. You take a snap hook and you hook it into a ring. This creates a handle. By snapping your hook into this ring, you get a fairly long leash. To shorten it, you simply move further on into the next ring. In this case, the handle is bigger, but the leash is shorter. To further shorten your leash, you can again move further on and snap your snap hook into the ring that is very close to the other snap hook. This basically halves the length of your leash. Again, you have a fairly long handle and a functional leash. Let me now describe the lengths of this leash as I have designed it. In the long form, with the short handle, the length of this leash is 5 feet. If I move my snap hook to the middle ring, then the length of my leash is going to be 4 feet. If I again move my snap hook, the short length of my leash is 3 feet. So these are the possible lengths that you can adjust in this leash. As far as supplies go, our two main cords used to braid the leash are going to be 20.5 feet long. So 6 meters and 15 centimeters. So two cords 20.5 feet in length each. Now this is enough for a 5-foot long leash. If you want a longer leash, you're going to need to add in more length to your cords. Two additional shorter cords are going to be used for the decorative knot on one side of the leash. This is optional, but I do recommend it. These cords are 3 feet long each, so 90 centimeters each. Next, you're going to need 2 snap hooks, one for each end of the leash. Alternatively, you can also choose to use something like a carabiner. Next, you're going to need a couple of metal rings to make your dog leash adjustable. In my case, I'm going to use 3, but you can use more to add further adjustability to your dog leash. The rings have a diameter of about 5/8 of an inch, so about 15 millimeters. Finally, scissors and a lighter are used to cut and melt the ends of our paracord. Let's now begin tying. I'm going to begin tying by taking my 2 long pieces of paracord, each 20.5 feet long. I'm going to feed the 2 cords through the snap hook, and I'm going to place my snap hook to the center of my 2 cords. This is going to result in 4 working ends. Like this. At this point, you can head straight into the 4-stranded round braid. Usually though, since we are now at this side of the leash, I tend to start with a Matthew Walker knot. This is optional, but it helps you transition a bit more easily, plus it enables you to mark this side of the leash with a specific knot. So, when you have both sides together, you can easily see which side is which. So at this point, we are at the side close to the handle. So, as I've mentioned, you can skip into the 4-stranded round braid or tie a Matthew Walker knot. To tie a Matthew Walker knot, simply arrange your cords. So the front one first, then the back one, and front one and back one, like this. So now that we have our 4 cords prepared, grab them at the bottom to hold them lined up. Take your first cord, pass it over the others like this. Take the same cord, pass behind and through the first loop, like this. The first cord is at the bottom. Take the next cord, pass under and through the first loop, like this, over the remaining 2 cords, then behind and into the second loop, like this. The second cord is above the first one. Take the third cord, pass through the first 2 loops, over the last remaining cord, behind and into the third loop. The third cord is above the first and second cord. Take the last of your cords, pass through the first 3 loops, then under and through the 4th loop. The last of our cords should be at the top above the first 3 cords. Now slowly pull on the first cord, second cord, third cord, and the last cord, and make sure they are lined up. So first cord at the bottom, then the second one, third one, and fourth one. Gently tighten everything up until you can't tighten up anymore. At this point, take your first cord here at the bottom and place it alongside this cord here on the right side. So simply slide it over, right next to it. Then do the same thing with the second cord at the bottom, sliding it right next to the first cord. Then take the third cord and again slide it right next to the second cord. Now gently tighten up your cords, square up the knot, like this. We're going to gently pull on all of the ends to gradually tighten up the knot. Like this. So this is how a Matthew Walker knot should look like. Now pull in these cords through the knot and into the ends. You start here at the top, pulling in a strand and pulling out the slack. You take the next cord and again pull in the strand a little bit. And the next cord again pulls in a bit of slack and remove it through the end. And the next cord repeats the process. Like this. So at this point, what you have is a Matthew Walker knot and your snap hook attached onto your cords. What we are going to do now is move on to the 4-stranded round braid. When I begin my round braid, I usually secure my snap hook by placing it into a loop, perhaps by attaching it onto a doorknob or some sort of a hook. This way, when I'm braiding, I get some tension onto my cords. This results in a cleaner look for my braid. We're going to start by setting up our braid. separate our ends, two to each side. So like this. Take the top right end, over under, through the cords on the left side. Take the other cord on the right side and pass under over through the cords on the left. So now the two cords from the left are on the right side, the two cords from the right are on the left side. This is a clean way that you can use to begin your round braid. Now what we're going to do is begin braiding by taking our top right strand, passing behind, in between the two cords on the left, then back to the bottom on the right. Take the top left strand, behind, in between the two cords on the right, and back to the bottom on the left. Like this. Then again, top right strand passes in between the two cords on the left and back to the bottom on the right. And again, top left strand, behind, in between the two cords on the right side and back to the bottom on the left. And simply continue the same way. So top right, in between the two cords on the left and back to the bottom on the right. Top left, in between the two cords on the right side and back to the bottom on the left. If you by any chance lose track, the next cord that you should use is always the one that is further back in your braid. So in this case, this is the one that is the furthest back, so this is the one that I should use. And now this one is the furthest back, so this is the one that I should use. For now, we're going to be braiding 1 foot of the 4-stranded round braid. Then we're going to add in the first metal ring. I have now braided 1 foot or 30 centimeters of my round braid. I'm now going to pick up a metal ring and pass the front 2 cords through the ring. like this. Push the ring a bit further up and simply continue your braid. As I have mentioned, just use the last cord, so the topmost one. Simply continue your round braid. We are going to be braiding 2 feet from this ring to the next one. So braid 2 feet of the round braid, which equals 60 centimeters. After braiding 2 feet away from my previous ring, I'm going to take my second ring and again feed the front 2 cords through the ring to attach it. Like this. Again, we're going to continue braiding, continuing with the topmost, so the last of our cords. Simply continue your round braid. We are again going to be braiding a length of 2 feet, so 60 centimeters. After 2 feet of my round braid, I'm going to add in my final ring. Again, by feeding the front 2 cords through the ring. Then we're going to do a little length of my round braid more. So about 3 inches. Simply continue the way that we braided before, securing our last ring. Let's take a look at our progress so far. We started with a Matthew Walker knot. Then we braided 1 foot of our round braid. Then we placed a ring. This enables us to create a handle at the back of the leash. Then we braided 2 feet of our round braid. Then we placed our second ring. This enables us to shorten our leash to 4 feet. Then we braided 2 additional feet and placed our last ring into our braid. This ring enables us to shorten our leash to 3 feet. Then we braided 3 inches more. At this point, we're going to attach our second snap hook by feeding our 4 ends through our snap hook like this. Then we're going to fold a bit of our 4-stranded braid back over itself to create an eye that's going to hold our snap hook in place. Then we're going to splice our 4 ends back into the braid to secure our eye. This is a simple process, so let me show you. So at this point we're going to splice or work in the 4 ends back into the round braid. For this task, usually some sort of a tool is used. You can use a lacing needle, a Marlin spike, a fid, a pair of hemostats, or perhaps just a sharpened stick. To splice in your ends, you're going to pick out each of the ends and use it to follow one strand in the braid. This is going to effectively double up your braid. So for example, I'm going to start with this strand and I'm going to use it to follow one strand in the braid. So let's say this one here. So I'm going to work my strand alongside that strand. Like this, and follow it for a few tucks. So you can see that I'm doubling up the strand. We're going to work our ends close to the ring. So this is one strand spliced in. We're going to pick out the next strand to work in. So in this case, let's say this one. Find a strand in the braid to follow. So perhaps this one here. Again, double up the strand by working your end alongside that strand. So we're going to work in our second strand close to the ring as well. Continue with the third strand. Again, pick out a strand to follow in the braid. So perhaps this one. Like this. And finally, the last of the strands. There is only a single strand left undoubled in our braid. So we need to find it and double it up. So this is the strand here. So I'm going to follow it with my final strand. and again finish up your end close to the ring. Like this. So, if you have spliced in everything correctly, your braid should appear as if it was doubled. After completing the splice, the snap hook is very secure on the other side of the leash. We're going to now hide the splice using some sort of a covering knot. So this is the knot that I'm going to use to cover up the splice. You can use any other decorative knot. It really is a matter of personal preference. So to tie this knot, I'm going to grab all 4 of my strands and make sure they are lined up. They should not cross one another. I'm going to wrap my 4 strands around the splice 2 times. So this is once and twice. I now have 4 working ends and 8 strands wrapping around the splice. I'm going to take my first strand and weave through the cords in an under 1 over 1 sequence. So under over, under over, under over, and under over. Since we have 8 strands to weave through, we have done 4 unders and 4 overs. Take the next strand and start the same sequence, but this time starting under the previous strand, so under the first one that we used. Pass under, then continue over under, over under, over under, and over on the left side. Take the third cord and again start your sequence traveling under the second cord, then over, under, over, under, over, under, and over on the left side. The last of the strands again passes under the previous cord that I used. So the fourth strand passes under the third one and basically splits a pair of parallel strands. So we simply continue over under, over, under, over, under, and over on the left side. Now all we need to do is double up the knot. To do this, we take a strand on the left side, pass under the next strand, like this, and follow the strand on the left. So, over, under. Over, under. Over, under, and over on the right side. Take the next strand. So let's say this one. It really doesn't matter where you start. Pass under the next strand and follow the strand on the left. So over, under. Over, under. Over, under, and over. Take the next strand. Again, follow under the next strand and follow the strand on the left side. So over, under, over, under, over, under, and over on the right side. We now have a single cord remaining on the left side. Find the only undoubled cord traveling to the right side. Pass under a cord to come alongside it and follow it just like the other cords. So over, under, over, under, over, under, and over on the right side. Now we're going to work in the 4 working ends back into the knot, following the strands which are left undoubled, which are traveling towards the left side. So you pick out one, it doesn't matter where you start. Then you simply continue doubling the cord which you have followed earlier. So this one here is doubled, traveling under 2, like this, and continue doubling it up towards the left side. So over 2, under 2. Over 2, under 2. Over 2, under 2. And over 2, on the left side. Take the next cord and again double up the cord next to it. So under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, and over 2 on the left side. Take the next cord and double up the cord next to it. So under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, and over 2 on the left side. Take the last cord, again double up the cord next to it, entering under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, and over 2 on the left side. We are now again on the left side. The final step is to work in the ends under the knot to the right side. So as I have mentioned, we exit our sequences over 2. So over these 2 cords, for example, then take your end and travel here under the knot. So doubling up this end here on the left side and traveling immediately under the knot. So this is how it should look like. Doubling up this part on the left side. Take the next end. Again, remember that we finished going over 2. Then we're going to travel immediately to the right side. Again, doubling up this part on the left side. Like this. And the next end, again, travels over 2, then immediately under the knot to the right side, doubling up this part on the left side. And our final end again passes over 2, then immediately under the knot to the right side. Like this. And with this we have tied our decorative covering knot. Now the knot has some slack in it. To remove it, we are going to need to find where our cords are coming out of the splice, and pull the cords through the entire knot, and out of one of the working ends. Then simply find the next cord coming out of the splice, and again remove the slack by running the cord from the splice into one of the working ends. We're going to do this for a while until we have basically removed most of the slack out of the knot. After tightening my knot, I am very happy with the look. I'm going to place a second identical knot here on the other side next to the Matthew Walker knot. This is mostly for a decorative effect and some symmetry between the ends. To do this, I'm going to place 2 cords through the braid. So these 2 cords are 3 feet long each. So this is one, and the second one is placed through the braid at a right angle, so basically forming a cross. Like this. I'm going to make sure that all ends are of the same length. So this is my setup, and I can now begin tying. As I have mentioned, this second knot is going to be tied exactly the same way as the first one. So I'm not going to narrate the entire tying process, but I'm going to demonstrate it nonetheless. So like this. Now all I need to do is work the ends under the knot to the right side. Since they are a bit short, I'm going to do some slight tightening to work some slack into the ends, then I'm going to run them to the right side. And at this point, our knot is complete. We're going to do some final tightening, then finish up our project. I'm now going to finish up by trimming the ends as close to the knot as possible. Then I'm going to roll the knot under a plank. This is going to flatten out the knot and give it a more consistent flat look. You need to press down quite hard onto the knot in order to flatten it out. This takes a while, depending on how tight your knot is. After rolling my two knots, I'm going to push any visible loose ends back under the knot. Do this on both sides. And with this, your project is complete. And so guys, here is a practical and nice looking adjustable paracord dog leash. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that all steps were demonstrated clearly enough. Do join me in my future tutorials as well.